Hello everyone, I'm Tom Vassell and welcome to Week in Review. We got back from the Dice Tower retreat last week and we hit the ground running with a lot of different videos that we put out. So I hope you enjoyed them, but in case you missed them, this video is going to tell you about them. And then if you want to see the full video, you click the link in the description below. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Here's what I did last week. So I reviewed Forbidden Jungle, which I gave a 5.5 out of 10 to. This is the latest in the Forbidden line of cooperative games, and I thought while a better game than the last one, Forbidden Sky, it really was just sort of a remix of the original too, without bringing anything that I thought was compelling to the formula. In fact, I find it feels very swingy. It seems to be quite lucky. The games can just sort of punish you or not punish you based on turns of cards and random setup. So there's a few issues I have with it visually as well, but generally speaking, it just seems like a big so what. Many years after the excellent Forbidden Desert and even before that, Forbidden Island came out. So generally quite forgettable for me. I reviewed Tall Tales, which I gave a 6 out of 10 to. This is a trick-taking game, which is so hot right now. But this one, while interesting and one I could certainly see myself enjoying and playing, I thought it generally played itself, and the good moves, what you should do, is largely apparent. And I felt that way to everyone playing, where the game, everyone went, yeah, you know, it's fine, but it sort of is very obvious what you should do. You play, you follow suit on that trick, and then you are taking a card from in front of everyone that they had from the previous trick. And sometimes you want the high cards, and sometimes you want the low cards. You are also, if you are the weakest in the trick, you get a new card that is not in the deck yet from the side. Clever things, interesting ideas in concept. When I read this game, I thought this is going to be great. And playing it, I'm like, it's just okay. It sort of plays itself, and what you should do is very, very obvious. So I liked it, didn't love it. And then lastly, I reviewed Life of the Amazonia, which I gave an 8 out of 10 to. This is a very interesting bag building game in which you are using various currencies to build up your little display, your little jungle, I guess, your little area. Get some animals, put them out, score for various things that they want to be adjacent to or have in their habitat. You are putting out trees, you're putting out flowers, you are developing various strategies. And the game is very strategic. You want plans in place, but it still allows you to be quite tactical and react to what's going on, be opportunistic if a card comes up that you really, really want. So I enjoyed this one. It's got a nice balance. There's a couple of issues with some of the components in the game that are not the deluxe ones. The deluxe ones are very nice, but the general components I thought were a little weak. But overall, the gameplay here is robust, enjoyable, and kind of feels like a few other games that have recently come out cobbled together, but the sum of the parts is really quite good. So there you go. That's that one, Life of the Amazonia. And that's it for me, folks. See you on the next one.
Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and these are the games I reviewed this week. First off, I had Fit2 Print, which is a polyomino game that kind of has a real-time element. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a 7.5. Also, I reviewed Last Kingdom, which is based on the show. The game is by John DeClaire. I really did enjoy this one. It has kind of a Blood Rage feel, and I did give this an 8. And I also reviewed Last Light by Roy Cannaday. And that one I really enjoyed. It had a 4X feel. I love Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, and this has the same feel as that in 60 minutes, which is great. I gave that a 9. So those are the 3 games I reviewed this week.
Week in review time. This week I took a look at 2 different games. I took a look at the Frostwild Scourge expansion for Ashes Red Rains. Ashes Red Rains is how they make Ashes a cooperative game, so you get to take all those cool Phoenix Borns with cool art and battle against a basically enemy opponent, so you're playing cooperatively. or you're playing solo. I've played this both and I really enjoyed the way that it came out. This is an 8 for me. I just like what this brings. The other one, the Chimera that you're facing before, was a little bit more simplistic, just showing you how the mechanics work. This one has a lot of different stats, effects of stunning people or boosting up its own units, and it was just interesting to have a different take on a different bad guy you can face off against. Definitely bringing Ashes back to life for me, so definitely enjoyed that. And then also I took a look at Last Kingdom. This is a game by John DeClaire and Gameling Games. It's not even a tiny epic game, it's a different game based on the IP, which I knew nothing about, but the gameplay was solid. I really enjoyed it, so I gave it an 8 as well. You're the Saxons versus the Danes in the game, and there's shifting alliances back and forth, all trying to do this area control, trying to mitigate stuff and figure out the best way to grab points for yourself while keeping your opponents off of points, because the alliances are always shifting back and forth as the game goes along. Anyway, a couple of awesome games, and that's what I took a look at this week.
Hi, I'm Wendy Yee, and this week I reviewed Fit2 Print. I gave it a 7, and it's one that I liked. It's one that I came into hoping I would like even more, but I still really enjoyed it. It's real time, and I appreciate that you're trying to do all this spatial stuff in a real-time manner, and the fact that there's 2 parts to the game, I enjoyed that as well. The first part is you're taking them, and then you're placing them on your board for the second part. And so I just really like a lot of what's going on there. I feel like the time frame is enough time, though I tend to use all of it. I'm never grabbing the tokens to be able to draft a better player power next turn because I'm so focused in on, oh my goodness, how do I maximize this space? How do I make it work? So I'm not great at it, but I think that it's fun, and so I very much enjoyed it. So that's why I gave it a 7.
All right, this week I took a look at 3 different games. First up is Forbidden Jungle. I came in at a 6.5 on this one. Can't quite recommend it. I did enjoy the game, but most of the game that I enjoyed felt kind of ripped from other games in this series, Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Island specifically. I liked all those elements. I thought it worked well mechanisms-wise, but man, was it fiddly. Man, was the graphic design just kind of messy in it. And both of those things really brought the enjoyment down for me. So wouldn't quite recommend it, but honestly, I'd play it again, and I'd be happy to if you really like it at a convention or something like that. So a little bit of a miss for me, Forbidden Jungle at 6.5. Also took a look at an expansion for Betrayal at House on the Hill. This is Betrayal Blood on the Moon. It brings a werewolf character and some new haunts into it as well. I really liked this. It was an 8. This one, what kind of held it back for me is the base game is still so broken, and I know that. That doesn't bother me because I feel like all my plays of Betrayal at House on the Hill are an experience. You know, they all are memorable and kind of epic. For good and for bad, they're fun activities. And if you can look at it like that, I enjoy it. This expansion is no exception. I really enjoyed it. I like this werewolf theme where you have to start as one character and then become a werewolf mid-game, and that's going to kind of dictate the haunts as well. It really, really fits well into the base game. So for me, Betrayal Blood on the Moon was an 8. Last up, I took a look at Life on the Amazonia, and I came in at a 9 for this one. I really enjoyed my plays of this game. Life on the Amazonia is like the perfect marriage of Eco's First Continent and Cascadia, both of which I absolutely love. You have these different animals, you're spatially trying to put your jungle together and put animals where they're going to maximize that scoring, but you're also wanting to combo them together. It has build your own scoring with these bonus cards, just so many things just sing to me in this game. A little bit of fiddliness, especially with the waterfall track. I will never build that thing. I'll just leave it flat. So some misses there, as well as it kind of reminded me of Quacks, where I think the upgraded components are essential for me because I am such a tactile gamer, I guess. I like that enriched experience. So the deluxe is almost necessary for me at this point. I started with that and then went backwards, and I was like, oh no, I don't think I would get into it if it didn't have those components. Something about those wood chunky bits when you're playing in nature, I guess. So for me, Life on the Amazonia, a huge hit. Very much look forward to getting to this table more and more and more, and I'm just loving every minute of it. So Life of the Amazonia is a 9. That is going to wrap it up for me this week. Let's keep going though.
Hey there everybody, it's Mike DeLisio, and this week I reviewed 2 games, but they were both very, very good. Starting up first with Moon. This is the latest game in I believe, a trilogy of games that started with Villagers, followed up with Streets, and now we have Moon. And this is a space-themed game where explorations are going to the moon and trying to create settlements there. I liked Villagers, the first in the series, quite a bit. Streets was a bit of a letdown for me, but Moon is the best of all three. I'm giving this an 8.5 out of 10. A really, really fantastic engine builder, and you have a bit of a tableau, and you're building production cards and other cards that give you majorities for scoring. Smooth game, a pick and pass kind of drafting game. Very clever, very smart, and I've had very, very, very good plays of this across multiple different player counts, so that's Moon. And then I reviewed with some others in the crew here, Life of the Amazonia, which is stellar. I gave this game a 9 out of 10. This comes from publisher Bad Comet, who did Shaolia, which I like very much, and Wild Serengeti, which I enjoyed. But this is just a fantastic bag building game where you are placing different animals on a kind of a habitat that you are creating with textiles. And these different animals have different scoring conditions. So it feels like if a slightly more complex Cascadia used a bag building mechanism to drive it, that's what this feels like, and it is so satisfying, so good. Life of the Amazonia is terrific. There you go. 2 great games this week. Let's keep it moving.
All right, on Tuesday, there was a live play of Flock Together. Camilla, Joey, and Z gave that a whirl. Meanwhile, we reviewed The Hunt, a 2-player game where you're hunting down an enemy ship, and it's a very asymmetrical war-style game. I like this one. This one is a 7.5 for me out of 10. We also took a look at Forbidden Jungle. This is I guess the 3rd one in the Forbidden series. And this one I'm giving a 6 to. I like a lot of it. But there's a lot of crazy randomness in it, which keeps me from getting too excited about it. But it's definitely better than Forbidden Skies, the last one. We took a look at Last Light, the game designed by our co-worker here, Roy Cannaday. I like this one a lot. There's a lot of cool aspects to it. I'm giving it an 8.5. It actually does what it says it will do, which is have a kind of a 4X space game in 90 minutes or less. It's not an exaggeration. The game is that fast, and it's very well designed, so check it out. Fit2 Print, we did a combination review of this one. I think this is a filler speed game for gamers. I gave it a 7 because I really enjoy it, but I think the people who like it are not going to be a wide swath because there's a lot of things going on. It's speed and you're keeping track as you build your newspaper. I enjoyed it, but keep that in mind. I also took a look at AG&C. This is the new Carl Chudik game from Asmati Games, and unfortunately, it's still not a pretty game, as most of his games are, but it's way too wildly chaotic and fiddly compared to more streamlined versions that he's done. I had to give it a 4, didn't enjoy it. We took a look at Last Kingdom. This one I gave an 8 to. I would have given it a higher rating because it's so cool. You're making shifting alliances and switching sides from one to the other, and it's really cool. This John D. Clare game is great, but I think the theme actually detracts from it. I'm not saying that that doesn't work. I just think a lot of people don't really like The Last Kingdom, and the screenshots and stuff just don't look as good as it could otherwise. But it's a really fun game. I did 7 short reviews of those short reviews, which, again, you can find all our short reviews on another channel called Dice Tower Encore, but I put them all in one video. Some things of note: Chicken, terrible game, 2 out of 10, and Noobs in Space, a wonderful cooperative communication game that I just thought was hilarious, 8.5. And then Life of the Amazonia, another game that I really enjoyed. So much going on in this game, a bag building game, stuff there. 8.5, really had a lot of fun with this one. Check it out. So those are the reviews that we did over the past week, and we did lots of other things too. We had all of our live shows. We did, let's see, there was a how to play, Vagrant song, game news, what's happening, rapid fire roundups from different people. Lots of videos for you to check out, and we got more coming your way this coming week. Until next time, I'm Tom Bass, and you've been watching Week in Review on the Dice Tower.